I've always loved hiking through the dense forests of Colorado. The crisp air, the towering pines, and the solitude were all comforting. But my last trip turned my haven into a nightmare. It was late October, and the leaves had turned vibrant shades of orange and red. I decided to camp near a secluded area I had recently discovered. There were no trails leading to it, just an untouched piece of wilderness that called to my adventurous spirit. I packed my gear, including a map, a compass, and my trusty flashlight, and set out early in the morning. As the day wore on, I found myself deeper in the forest than I had anticipated. The trees grew closer together, their twisted branches blocking out the sun, creating a twilight atmosphere. I stumbled upon an old overgrown path that wasn't on my map. Curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to follow it. The path led me to a small clearing dominated by a dilapidated cabin. Its wooden frame was rotting and the windows were shattered. It looked like it had been abandoned for decades. Despite its eerie appearance, I was intrigued and decided to investigate. As I approached, the air grew colder, and an unsettling silence enveloped the area. Inside, the cabin was even more dismal. Broken furniture was scattered about, and a thick layer of dust covered everything. The walls were adorned with strange symbols I didn't recognize. I felt a shiver run down my spine, but brushed it off as a draft. I set up my camp just outside the cabin, planning to explore it more in the morning. As night fell, I lit a small fire and sat down to enjoy the tranquility. The forest was eerily quiet, with only the occasional rustle of leaves breaking the silence. After a while, I crawled into my tent and drifted off to sleep. I woke abruptly in the middle of the night, heart pounding. The air was frigid and my breath came out in visible puffs. I heard a faint whispering outside my tent. At first I thought it was the wind, but the whispers grew louder and more distinct. They were in a language I couldn't understand, but the tone was menacing. Grabbing my flashlight, I unzipped the tent and shone the light outside. The fire had long since died, and the darkness was impenetrable. The whispers stopped as soon as I stepped out. I scanned the area, my flashlight beam revealing nothing but trees and shadows. I told myself it was just my imagination, and went back to bed, though sleep did not come easily. The next morning I felt a sense of unease. The events of the night before had shaken me. Determined to shake it off, I decided to explore the cabin further. As I entered, I noticed something I hadn't seen before: a trapdoor hidden beneath a dusty rug. My curiosity piqued. I lifted the door and descended a creaky staircase into the darkness below. The basement was small and cluttered with old tools and debris. In the corner, I found an old book, its cover inscribed with the same strange symbols from the walls. I opened it and was immediately hit with a sense of dread. The pages were filled with incantations and diagrams that made my skin crawl. Suddenly, the whispering from the night before filled the room. It was louder now, more insistent. Panic set in as I tried to climb back up the stairs, but an unseen force seemed to push me back. The air grew colder, and I felt a presence behind me. Turning slowly, I saw a shadowy figure materialize from the darkness. Its eyes glowed with a malevolent light, and the whispers intensified, assaulting my senses. The figure spoke, its voice a guttural growl that reverberated through the room. "You should not have come here. This place is cursed." I tried to move, but my legs felt like lead. The figure raised a hand and I felt an icy grip around my throat, choking the life out of me. In a desperate bid for survival, I muttered a prayer I had learned as a child. The grip loosened, and the figure recoiled, its form flickering like a dying flame. Seizing the moment, I scrambled up the stairs and out of the cabin. I didn't stop running until I was back on familiar trails, the whispers fading with each step. When I finally reached my car, I collapsed inside, my body trembling with fear and exhaustion. I never spoke of that night to anyone. The Colorado forest, Once my sanctuary now held a dark secret I wished to forget. I still hike, but I avoid that area, haunted by the memory of the whispers and the shadowy figure that lurks in the depths of the forest, waiting for its next victim.